America can't believe how close Jimin and Jungkook look. Viral Japanese broadcast ignites US social media debate. Why did a simple morning show appearance in Japan send shockwaves across the United States? How did one warm interview between Jimin and Jungkook transform into a nationwide debate about chemistry, closeness, and who truly shined in their long-awaited comeback? And why are American fans asking the same question again and again with restless desperation? What happened to Jimin and Jungkook during military service that made them look this close, this comfortable, this impossibly in sync? No one expected Japan to awaken America like this. But it happened, and the chaos shows no sign of slowing down. The storm began with a quiet announcement. Mazama Sure TV, a beloved Japanese morning program, posted a simple teaser. Jimin and Jungkook, fresh out of military service, appearing together in an exclusive interview filmed just 7 days after their discharge. At first glance, the announcement looked like any promotional update, but the emotions it triggered were far from ordinary. The teaser photo alone caused digital tremors, the kind that fans feel first in their chest before the rest of the internet catches up. Jimin appeared with light blonde hair that seemed to glow under studio lights, while Jungkook radiated a calm, collected charisma that made fans do double takes. They were holding plush dolls of themselves, smiling naturally, standing close enough for fans to freeze the screen and whisper, "Is it just me, or do they look different?" Within minutes, the photo exploded across Japan. Within hours, it shot across borders. And when it landed in American timelines, the response was instant, dramatic, and downright explosive. American fans didn't simply react. They analyzed, dissected, and magnified every detail with the intensity of detectives piecing together a mystery. Why did Jungkook look at Jimin like that? Why did Jimin lean closer than expected? Why did their energy feel upgraded, matured, softened yet stronger? The question that dominated the US side of social media was both simple and impossible. Are Jimin and Jungkook even closer after the military than they were before? The broadcast itself was innocent enough on the surface. It took place in a bright Tokyo studio, decorated with soft colors and cheerful props typical of Japanese morning shows. The hosts welcomed the duo with unfiltered excitement, bowing deeply as they introduced the post-military reunion the world has been waiting for. Jimin and Jungkook laughed politely, adjusted their microphones, teasing each other the way only two people comfortable in each other's presence can. They talked about their travel variety show, Are You Sure? Season 2, a sequel fans had prayed for but never dared to expect so soon. They discussed memories, shared inside jokes, sang the playful dice talk, phrase the show had made iconic, and reminisced about moments from their recent travels. But even as the interview followed a familiar flow, something invisible yet undeniable hung in the air between them. A warmth, a closeness, a matured version of what fans had always adored. As if time apart had deepened their connection instead of weakening it, the cameras captured it, the internet noticed it, America dissected it. Almost immediately, US fans began comparing this 2025 Jungkook dynamic to older eras. Why does this remind me of 2016? One fan wrote. This feels like the golden era all over again, but the energy is calmer, richer, grown. Another echoed. It's like watching two people who went through something together and came out stronger. Then came the debate that overtook X, TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, and every corner of social media. Who was shining the brightest? Was it Jimin with his expressive storytelling, his soft smiles, his glowing blonde visuals? Or was it Jungkook with his grounded presence, his subtle humor, his post-military confidence that made fans clutch their hearts? And if the spotlight wasn't falling more heavily on one or the other, was it possible that the true magic came from the duo itself? American fans weren't satisfied with surface-level answers. They began analyzing body language frame by frame. They slowed clips to 0.25 speed. They circled microscopic details in screenshots. They wrote 1,000-word posts trying to decode the same question. What changed? The Japanese audience saw a heartwarming reunion. The global audience saw a touching comeback. But the US audience saw something else entirely. A shift. A spark. A deepened connection that felt too natural to ignore. The frenzy only intensified when the episode aired. In the interview, Jimin's eyes often drifted toward Jungkook whenever he spoke. Jungkook's shoulders turned slightly toward Jimin whenever he laughed. Their hands moved in mirrored gestures, a habit fans remembered from years ago. The studio lights seemed to soften whenever they shared the frame. Their voices blended with an ease that felt like muscle memory. And their smiles, those smiles, made everything feel like a reunion the universe had been waiting for. That's when international commentators stepped in. Entertainment reporters in Los Angeles wrote that the broadcast felt cinematic, almost scripted in its natural warmth, and a reminder of why this duo has captivated audiences for nearly a decade. Meanwhile, several American K-pop analysts noted that the intensity of the US reaction indicated something deeper, a cultural longing, a visual nostalgia, and an emotional familiarity fans had been deprived of during military enlistment. And now that the duo had returned together, the emotional floodgates had opened. Yet the question only grew louder. Was this truly just friendship? Or was the bond simply so strong, so refined by time, that it transcended labels and left fans reaching for explanations? With every clip, every pause, every shared glance, the curiosity grew. And with curiosity came emotional chaos. The closer fans looked, the more impossible it was to dismiss. Jimin seemed softer around Jungkook. Jungkook seemed steadier around Jimin. Their rhythms synced effortlessly, as if they had been rehearsing with life itself. It was no wonder that the American side of Twitter began joking that Jungkook is a threat to US stability. But jokes aside, there was truth in the emotional impact. America didn't react like this to just any duo. America reacted like this because something about Jimin and Jungkook together feels like a rare cultural moment, one that doesn't happen often, and one that resonates on a level deeper than words. As clips continued spreading, discussions evolved from friendly debates to passionate essays. Fans wrote things like, "I don't know what happened, but I've never seen them look more comfortable together, and they look like two people who know each other's hearts." Others compared their energy to siblings reunited, best friends bonded by time, or even co-workers who became inseparable after facing emotional distance. The truth is, no one can pinpoint exactly what changed. But everyone agrees something did, and that is why this interview didn't just trend, it detonated. Hollywood has taken notice. US talk shows have reportedly discussed extending invitations. Entertainment insiders say that producers in America are watching Jimin and Jungkook closely, reconsidering what K-pop duos can mean for international broadcast ratings. The industry is sensing a global shift, one sparked by two men who simply sat side by side and spoke about a variety show. Jimin and Jungkook didn't come to Japan intending to start a cultural debate. They simply shared stories. But the world heard something louder. A reunion, a reset, a reawakening of a dynamic that fans had quietly feared would fade after military service. But instead of fading, it returned stronger. This is why America is obsessed. This is why debates haven't stopped. This is why the episode refuses to leave trending charts. Because somewhere between the bright Tokyo studio and the glowing screens across the United States, the unexpected happened. Jimin and Jungkook reminded the world why their chemistry has captivated millions for more than a decade. Fans are left with a final question they can't shake. If this is how powerful their presence is from one Japanese morning broadcast, what will happen when BTS finally stands together as seven again? No one knows the answer. And that is exactly why the world can't look away. The night after the broadcast, something unusual began to happen across the United States. Normally, trending topics fade after a few hours, replaced by political scandals, celebrity mishaps, or viral TikTok trends. But the Jimin Jungkook broadcast didn't fade. It grew. It multiplied. It spread into conversations that had nothing to do with K-pop. It entered entertainment podcasts, Hollywood blogs, reaction channels, and even college campus discussions. Professors overheard students arguing about whether Jimin's softened post-military aura held the emotional weight of someone who had gone through a personal transformation, or whether Jungkook's calm composure suggested a newfound maturity that fans had never witnessed so clearly before. Journalists who had never once written about BTS found themselves drafting pieces because audience interest was too massive to ignore. One New York writer described it as the type of cultural flashpoint that forces even outsiders to pay attention. Another wrote, "This wasn't just a broadcast, it was a reunion charged with unspoken history." And yet another wrote, "The fascination with their closeness reveals something important about human connection in the digital age. People are craving sincerity, and they found it in Jimin and Jungkook." But what exactly was it about their closeness that shook America so deeply? Was it the nostalgia, the longing for the warmth BTS once brought during the hardest global years? Was it the relief of seeing the duo alive, healthy, glowing, and finally free after months of silence? Or was it something more intimate, something unexplainable, something that lives only in the space between two people who have walked the same path for over a decade? That question began to haunt viewers. Clips of Jimin turning his head toward Jungkook every time he laughed became the subject of entire video analyses. Fans slowed footage to catch the smallest smile Jungkook let slip when Jimin spoke. Meanwhile, Jimin's gentle tone whenever he addressed Jungkook led fans to whisper, "There's something different. I can feel it." And despite millions trying to decode it, not a single person could define it. The mystery became part of the obsession. Entertainment networks in America began quietly monitoring the data. They noticed something peculiar. The engagement for Jimin, Jungkook content was outpacing some major Hollywood news. Articles that mentioned them saw a spike in traffic unlike anything recorded since BTS' last Grammy appearance. Analysts realized this wasn't temporary hype. It was the beginning of a massive shift. Studios in Los Angeles started questioning whether they should begin securing Korean translators to prepare for potential interviews. Talk show producers whispered about securing either Jimin, Jungkook, or both for future segments. Streaming platforms began reconsidering how much K-pop content they should greenlight for 2026. The business world was moving because of one Japanese broadcast, but the emotional world was moving too. American fans who had once argued over solo achievements were suddenly united in awe. Even fans from different fandoms, those who previously prioritized drama over harmony, found themselves saying something they rarely admitted. The chemistry between Jimin and Jungkook was undeniable. Why did it feel so comforting? Why did it feel so symbolic? Why did it feel like the world needed this moment? Perhaps it was because the last 2 years were filled with uncertainty. BTS had been separated. Fans waited. Some feared the bond would fade. Others worried fame and distance would reshape everything they loved. And yet, as soon as Jimin and Jungkook sat together in that Japanese studio, the fear dissolved instantly. Their bond didn't fade. It matured. Their closeness didn't weaken. It deepened. Their energy didn't scatter. It aligned. And this, more than anything, is what set America on fire. As the night fell on the West Coast, a live stream from a fan in Los Angeles captured what hundreds of thousands were feeling. She held her phone, tears slipping down her cheeks as she whispered, "I didn't know how much I missed seeing them together until I saw this. They feel real. They feel genuine. They feel connected in a way I can't describe." Her clip went viral. People stitched it, reacted to it, echoed it, and soon it wasn't just about two idols anymore. It was about the comfort people feel when two familiar souls reunite. Parents watched with their children. Couples watched with curiosity. Friends watched and commented on how rare it is to see such visible warmth in entertainment. Even those who didn't know BTS began asking, "Why is everyone talking about these two? What is it about them?" And the more they watched, the more the answer revealed itself. IT wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about fame. It wasn't even about music this time. It was about connection. Genuine, deep, unmistakable connection. A connection that cameras can't fake. A connection that years apart couldn't erase. A connection strong enough to make an entire country argue, cry, laugh, analyze, and fall in love all over again. And this begged the question, if Jimin and Jungkook's reunion could stir this much emotion across the United States, what will happen when BTS reunites completely? Will the world be able to handle the impact? Will the emotional weight be even heavier? Will the cultural reaction be unprecedented? No one has an answer yet. But one thing is becoming clear. Jimin and Jungkook have unintentionally set the stage for one of the biggest global entertainment comebacks in history. And as fans drifted off into the early hours of the morning, phones still in hand, hearts still racing, minds still filled with questions, one thought echoed everywhere like a soft, lingering heartbeat. What if this is just the beginning?